What's this for? Look at it, and once you see it, explain it to me clearly right away. He opened the envelope and saw the DNA result inside. Positive. Whose result was he looking at? That's our DNA. The DNA result of me and Ethan. His question was answered when James spoke. Slowly, she lifted her gaze to the man. Her eyes widened. Now explain this to me. Is this why you didn't want me to find out who the boy's father is, Jen? Tell me, Rachel, have you known all along? If that's the case, why did you hide it? Why didn't you tell me? And why did you let the boy get close to me if you didn't want me to know? Are you playing with us? Are you enjoying this? What do you even want? She was stunned. All this time, the father of her child had been right there with them. 8 years had passed. She didn't know how small the world could be for them to meet again like this. She stepped back, but he grabbed her hand. No, not this time. You're done running. I won't let you escape again. That's your punishment, he said in a firm voice. Music, strict, serious, harsh. That's how the household staff often described James. Despite these unflattering descriptions, he was a man who only wanted to improve everything under his leadership. The only child of the Clement family, after his parents passed away, he became the sole head of the Clement Group. At 20, he already knew the ins and outs of the company. He learned early, just like his father, a top graduate from a prestigious university abroad. A business genius like his father, James was now 28 and ready to start a family. But he didn't know when he'd let that part of his life begin. Checkmate, said the boy in front of James. The boy's name was Ethan, as he introduced himself. James found him playing alone with a chessboard in the living room. The boy could play both sides by himself. Playing chess at such a young age was already impressive, especially given what James had witnessed earlier. It challenged him. He froze when he realized he'd lost again. This was their third match, but he still couldn't beat the boy. A 28-year-old, defeated by a child. James felt his title as a top graduate abroad and a successful business tycoon meant nothing because of this kid. You're so good, sir. This is the first time I've had this much fun, said Ethan, not even breaking a sweat. Is that so? Good, I'm glad I could make you happy, James replied, watching Ethan with a smile. He remembered how it used to be like this with his father. The same setup, facing each other over a chessboard, and he'd repeatedly beat his dad. Back then, he was the best in the house. Now he saw someone who could surpass him, Ethan. They both turned when someone arrived. A woman, visibly scared when she saw James, quickly pulled the boy away from his seat. Honey, what are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to behave? She scolded softly. James realized this was Ethan's mother. Rachel's soft reprimand was still audible, despite everything. When the boy looked at her, the woman turned to James, worry evident in her eyes. She immediately shielded her son, as if protecting him from James. Sir, I'm so sorry. This won't happen again. Please forgive me. It's my fault. Please don't be mad, she said, bowing her head. James glanced at Ethan, who peeked from behind his mother. It's fine. I enjoyed talking to your son, he said with a serious expression. The woman froze, clearly not expecting his response. He looked at Ethan again. Let's play chess again next time, Ethan, he said to the boy. The boy's face lit up, and he nodded with a smile. James watched as the mother and son quickly left after saying goodbye. It was late afternoon, and his staff were heading home. If anyone stayed behind at the mansion, it would be the head housekeeper. I haven't seen my dad since I was 5. Mom never talked about him either. I don't know if I even have a dad anymore. But it's okay. It's just me and Mom, and she loves me. She's raising me alone, so I'm fine without a dad. We're happy enough. James recalled Ethan saying this while they played chess. Even while talking and playing, James couldn't beat him. The boy was just that good, able to multitask effortlessly. He couldn't help but smile as he saw Ethan and his mother leaving the gate. They were walking home, like the other staff who were leaving. "I've never seen that boy before. Why's he here now?" James asked. The head housekeeper, who had just arrived, replied, "The boy was sick, so his mother brought him here. She promised to watch him and make sure he didn't cause trouble, but she slipped up. I apologize, sir. It won't happen again." The housekeeper explained further. James shook his head and turned to her, hands in his pockets. "It's fine. I just want to know when the boy can come back. Did his mother say anything to you?" The housekeeper was surprised by his question. James liked the boy. He didn't know why, but he felt at ease with him. For the first time in his life, he was this happy. Because of Ethan, memories were resurfacing, beautiful memories he wanted to relive with the boy. "I'll tell his mother, Rachel, about this, but the boy only has free time on Sundays since he's in school," the housekeeper said. James nodded. "That's fine, I can wait." He poured whiskey into his glass, took a sip, and pulled out his phone to find a contact's number. After 2 rings, the call was answered. "Hey, James, what's up?" the voice greeted. "I need you to find someone for me," James said, thinking of Ethan's face. Maybe the boy's face earlier hinted he also wanted to meet his father, but he had no choice. "What? A woman? Finally got a crush?" his friend teased. James clenched his jaw. "Not a woman. I'm not like you." His friend laughed. "So who is it?" "Someone important to someone I know. I'll send the little info I have. Handle it and make sure you report even the smallest details," James said, authoritatively. "Copy, copy. I'm on it," his friend replied. Rachel's friend, Lisa, said to her, "You need a rich man to solve your family's problems. If you marry someone wealthy, you won't have to worry anymore. We'll find a way. We're already poor, and you're going to marry someone poor? You'll be broke." Lisa worked at a bar and wanted Rachel to join her, saying the money was quick. But Rachel knew the real nature of that job and refused. She never expected the thing she was avoiding would happen to her. One morning, she woke up naked in a hotel bed next to a man whose face she couldn't see, covered by a blanket. Her gaze dropped, and she saw something she shouldn't have. It was morning, and it was already awake. Her eyes widened, and she quickly looked away. Her head ached, but she forced herself to get up and gather her clothes from the floor. Nervous, embarrassed, and panicking, she managed to leave before the man woke up. "Lisa!" she cried, calling her friend as she walked to the elevator, finally out of the hotel room. "Hey, how'd it go? Was it good?" Lisa's voice was excited on the other end. Rachel froze. "What are you talking about?" "That guy last night. I left you 2 in the hotel room. I know he's rich. My God, Rachel, you hooked a big fish," Lisa exclaimed. Rachel couldn't believe it. "You brought us to that hotel?" she said, stunned. Lisa had given her a drink at the bar. Juice, she thought, but she suddenly felt weak and blacked out. Lisa laughed loudly. "Yes, so you should thank me." Rachel felt like crying hearing this. She'd stopped college to send money to her parents in their small rural town. She took part-time jobs everywhere to make ends meet. Life was hard, but she didn't want to earn money this way. "He gave me $2,000. Not bad for your first night," Lisa said. For $2,000, Lisa had sold her out to that man for such a small amount. "How could you do this?" Rachel said, her voice trembling. Tears fell. "What are you talking about? Shouldn't you be happy we found a way to send money to your parents? No more worries. Be grateful this is all I'm taking," Lisa said proudly. Rachel couldn't believe it. She'd trusted Lisa, who'd helped her with part-time jobs before. Now this. "Lisa, please," Rachel said, her voice shaking. The betrayal hurt deeply. Since Lisa got a boyfriend, she'd changed. Rachel stayed out of it, but couldn't accept being put in danger like this. "Fine, I'll leave your money at the bar. I'm out, Lisa said, hanging up. Rachel stood frozen. Moments later, she noticed people entering the elevator, glancing at her because she was crying outside it. She and Lisa never saw each other again. 2 months passed, and Rachel kept fighting through daily work. She took the money Lisa left at the bar and sent it all to her parents. Why was your last remittance so big, but now it's back to $200 a week? Can't you keep sending $1,500 like before? You're stingy with me and your dad, her mother said over the phone. Rachel was eating bread because she'd sent all her money to them. She had nothing left for decent food tomorrow. Ma, that's all I could manage. The diner I work at cut staff, she said. Find another job. Take on more work. There are plenty out there. $200 a week isn't enough. You know we're still paying electricity. It's expensive now, and I can't keep eating canned tuna. Rice is pricey too, her mother complained. Ma, if you stopped gambling and Dad stopped drinking, that money would be enough, Rachel said firmly. She loved her parents, but sometimes they went too far. What are you saying? I only gamble sometimes to de-stress. Your dad does too. Why are you complaining? Instead of whining, send more money to make up for what we spent raising you. What you give isn't even half of what we spent, her mother said. Rachel stayed silent, letting her mother rant until she was done, then went home. At the door, her stomach churned. She rushed to the bathroom to vomit. After emptying her stomach, she paused, wondering what she'd eaten to feel this way. Staring at the bathroom wall, puzzled, she showered and rested. The strange heaviness she felt added to her confusion. She'd never felt this before. Last time you vanished. You're so weird when you're drunk, ending up in some other dimension. You don't even remember booking a hotel and someone asking you for $2,000. Did you hire an escort that time? Ryan said, laughing, over the phone. James rubbed his temple. Ryan was returning from Miami soon. 2 years ago was James's first one-night stand, and Ryan knew it. They were together that night and James got drunk. The last thing he remembered was a woman approaching him at the bar counter. He drowned himself in alcohol to relieve work stress. Ryan thought dragging him out would help. Known for being strict, James was clearly a serious person at first glance. He wasn't interested in marriage despite his age, focused on work and growing the business his late parents left him. That night with the stranger still lingered in his mind, especially when he learned she was a virgin. The bloodstain on the bedsheet proved it when he woke up. I'm not going out with you again. You're a bad influence, James said. Ryan laughed. You'll end up a bachelor forever. As if I care. James frowned. He'd marry his work. Surrogacy was an option nowadays. He'd rather handle work stress than deal with women's unpredictable moods. A soft knock came at his office's glass door. Turning, he saw Amanda, smiling broadly, holding a paper bag. Amanda was his childhood friend. Their families were close since they were kids. After his parents died, Amanda's family treated him like a son, but he sensed her parents had ulterior motives in their closeness. After his parents' death, he felt they were pushing him toward Amanda. He wasn't oblivious to it. I brought you food, Amanda said, entering and placing the food on his office's center table. He watched her, and she smiled when their eyes met. He gave a small smile. He saw Amanda as a sister. He didn't want their friendship ruined by her parents' personal interests. He was certain his feelings for her wouldn't go beyond friendship, no matter how much they pushed. You probably haven't eaten. You always skip meals. Want coffee? Amanda said with a sweet smile. Thanks, James said, focusing on work. Amanda quickly made coffee and returned. You haven't visited our house. Mom and Dad miss you. That's why I came here. Come over tonight. Mom said she'll cook your favorite, Amanda said softly, touching his arm. He sighed. I'll try if I finish early. Amanda pouted. It's Mom and Dad's anniversary today. Did you forget? He paused and looked at her. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Seeing her sadness, he stopped working and faced her properly. He wasn't good at comforting women, unsure how to show his apology was sincere. All right, I'll come tonight, he said finally. Amanda was one reason he lost interest in dating. She was too demanding, wanting everything her way instantly. He felt all women were like that, so he stopped trying. After work, he honored her invitation. Amanda's parents greeted him warmly. When I heard you were coming, I got so excited. Amanda kept checking the time. Even I was thrilled, her mother boasted. Mom, Amanda scolded, blushing. James gave an awkward laugh. Thank you for coming, son. We were surprised when Amanda said you'd be here, her father said, hugging him and patting his shoulder. You're so busy with work, you don't visit much. You need someone to take care of you. You need a wife, her father added. James gave an uneasy laugh. It's not on my mind yet. I can handle myself. You and our daughter are both single. Maybe she's waiting for you, her father hinted. She's a great cook, good at housework, kind, and would make a wonderful wife, her mother added. Amanda blushed at her parents' words. James felt only awkwardness. The couple kept talking about marriage. He didn't know how to act, regretting coming. He loosened his tie in the car. It took a while to leave their house. They insisted he stay in the guest room. He wasn't comfortable and wanted to go home. Thankfully, they let him go. He felt more stressed. Why didn't you think about how we're struggling? Is that why you're sending less money? Because you're flirting around? Now you're pregnant and coming here. Stay with the baby's father. Rachel recalled her mother's words. At 6 months pregnant, she went to her parents' rural home and admitted she was pregnant, needing their help. Instead of support, her mother rejected her. When they needed her, she was welcome. Now that she needed help, they practically disowned her. She had no choice but to return to the city. Despite the hardships, she persevered, giving birth alone. 8 years passed, filled with struggles to survive with her son. Mum, let's go. She stopped scrubbing laundry and looked at the boy who arrived. He held a can of sardines in one hand and a pack of jerky in the other, smiling despite bruises on both arms. She stood quickly, alarmed, and rushed to him. Have your arms been like this for a while? She asked, fear in her eyes. Yes, since I got to the store, he said. She pulled him into their room, rummaging through the cabinet. Finding the medicine, she grabbed a pill and a glass. Here, honey, take this, she said. He took it, and soon the bruises faded. Mum, why does my body do this? I don't feel pain, but I get bruises suddenly, he asked, curious. You're special, like the superheroes we watch. They're different, and so are you, she said to boost his confidence. He smiled, delighted. But the truth was, her son had a rare disease. Doctors at the public hospital couldn't diagnose it. They'd need to go abroad for tests, but they couldn't afford it. She relied on temporary medicine to ease his symptoms. She admitted she was scared. They needed to save money, and she was trying, hoping one day she could get her son treated. It was Sunday morning, no school for her son, and her laundry job's day. A friend recommended her to a wealthy businessman needing a new laundress. She worked only Sundays, a big opportunity since her son was free. Don't cause trouble here, honey. Promise, Mom, I'm just going somewhere and will be back this afternoon, she told him while preparing to leave. Yes, Mom, you're just going to work, he said. She nodded. Yes, so you'll have lunch money tomorrow. Behave, okay? He smiled and nodded. One day, Mom, you won't have to do laundry. Your hands won't get hurt anymore. I'll feed you delicious food. I'll make sure we never run out of money. When I finish school and get a good job, I promise we won't struggle anymore. She couldn't help but smile at his words, unexpected from him. My son's so kind, she said, stroking his face. It's okay for Mom. When you work one day, focus on yourself and save for your future. I'll be happier knowing you're doing well. Study hard, okay? Education is all I can give you." She waved emotionally before leaving for work. Her son was smart, excelled in school, and was kind. She was sure that was his greatest asset for success. A good life and health were her only wishes for him. The mansion she worked at was a 2-bus ride from their apartment in a modest Chicago neighborhood. She hadn't expected it to be so massive. "Are you the new laundress?" a woman at the gate asked. Rachel nodded and followed her inside. The large gate closed automatically behind them. Everything she saw was stunning. "We go this way. Remember, people like you can't pass through the main hall. Only the head housekeeper can. The boss hates seeing anyone in the hall, especially the living room. He's strict and quick to anger, so watch your actions. Understand?" Rachel nodded after the woman's warning and followed her. Glass walls surrounded the hall, so she could see it from outside. She noticed a man standing there, tall, holding a glass of wine, deep in thought. Despite his seriousness, she couldn't ignore his appearance. Sharp jawline, thick brows, striking eyelashes, and well-shaped lips. Their eyes met, and she swallowed hard. "That's Mr. James Clement, our boss," the helper said, noticing her gaze. Rachel snapped out of it and looked away. "Oh, I see." They continued to her assigned area. Rachel exhaled deeply after washing the last curtain. It was her 3rd time at the mansion. She'd spent all day with laundry, unable to leave because her task wasn't done. Thankfully, her son understood being left with their neighbor. "Rachel, eat first. You've been at it all day. You can pause," a coworker said. "All right, I'll finish this and follow," she said, smiling. It was lunchtime and her coworker came to get her. She loaded the machine before joining. The staff had a separate dining area away from the mansion. She found 3 guards and other helpers there. She hadn't expected so many staff in such a big house, but it made sense. She sat at an empty spot with the more senior helpers. "You're the new one," one said. She nodded. "Oh, you're new. Be careful if you don't want to get fired fast. Mr. James is strict. He pays well, but you need to be cautious. Don't waste your salary here," the woman advised. Rachel swallowed and nodded. She'd be extra careful, doing everything to avoid their boss. The helpers paused when James appeared by the pool with a tall, glamorous woman. Rachel frowned. Who was she? She looked like a celebrity, but Rachel wasn't sure if she'd seen her on TV. "That's Ms. Amanda, the one they're trying to set up with Mr. James. She's a model, but he doesn't seem interested. Poor thing, always visiting, only to be left here," a helper said. The helpers started gossiping. "That woman's only nice to Mr. James. She's an angel to him, but a devil to us. Good for her. If she ends up with him, our lives here will be hell," another added. Rachel shook her head, continuing to eat, learning about the mansion's dynamics without asking. Around 4 p.m., she was nearly done. Her phone rang. "Hello?" She answered quickly, especially since it was her neighbor watching Ethan. "Rachel, can you come home soon? Your son—" Her heart raced. "What happened to him?" she asked, standing, ready to run if something was wrong. "He's got a fever. You should come now. He's been asking for you," the neighbor said. Rachel froze, then rushed to the head housekeeper to ask to leave early. Since she was almost done, they allowed it, especially given her valid reason. She grabbed her bag from the locker and hurried out, nearly running to the gate, but she almost got hit by Mr. James's car. She fell from shock, but stood quickly, nervous, facing the man stepping out. "Sorry, sir," she apologized quickly. "Are you trying to kill yourself?" he said coldly. "I'm so sorry. I was in a hurry. It won't happen again," she said, avoiding his gaze, terrified. He took out his phone and called someone. "Review the CCTV. This woman in front of me. Deduct her pay for the month," he said, in a stern tone, then walked past her. Rachel stood frozen. She hadn't expected a small mistake to cost her already meager salary. She didn't know how to feel but thought a pay cut was better than being fired. When she got home, she tended to her sick son. Thankfully, he felt better after taking medicine. "Sorry, Mom," he said, waking from sleep. "Because of me, you couldn't rest. You must be exhausted." She was surprised and shook her head. "Don't think like that, honey. I'm here because you're sick. You didn't mean to get sick. Sorry I got here late." She kissed his forehead. "I'm okay now, Mom. You can sleep," Ethan said, holding her hand. She tightened her grip and smiled softly. "You close your eyes and rest. I'll rest after you sleep, okay?" He nodded, closed his eyes, and she watched until he slept again. She lay beside him, noticing he was truly asleep. James frowned, seeing the boy in the living room. He'd repeatedly said no one could go there except those close to him. He was about to scold the boy when he saw what he was doing, playing chess. He thought the boy was too young to understand chess rules, but he was shocked to see Ethan moving pieces skillfully alone. James approached and played with him. What stunned him more was Ethan beating him multiple times. The boy's tactics weren't simple. He seemed to plan several moves ahead without much thought. After several losses, the boy's mother arrived. James realized she was the woman he nearly hit at the gate. "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't watch him properly. It won't happen again," she repeated. But after losing to Ethan several times, James couldn't stay calm. He didn't know if it was his pride or because he liked the boy, but he wanted to see him again, to play chess with him again. For years he'd played his father's chessboard alone, their shared toy when his father was alive. That's why he didn't want others in the hall or living room. It held his father's memories. But this boy appeared, stirring a part of his life he wanted to revisit. Whenever Rachel came to work, James watched for her, hoping she'd bring Ethan and let him go to the living room. But she always came alone. Unable to wait, he went to the pool and approached her. "Sir," Rachel exclaimed, startled, seeing him in her path. "Didn't you bring your son?" Her face showed shock and confusion at his question. Who wouldn't be surprised if he suddenly asked about her son when he'd never done this before? What's wrong? Why are you looking for my son?" she asked nervously. He sighed. "Bring him next time. I want to play chess with him." He left, leaving her stunned. He smiled, recalling Ethan's words. "Honestly, I want to join competitions. I see kids on TV doing it. Even though I'm young, I believe I can handle chess competitions," Ethan had said while playing. James got to know him bit by bit as they played. Rachel was shocked by Mr. James's request to bring her son. Ethan was good at chess, playing alone since he was young. Besides chess, he played nothing else. He'd been thrilled when he joined a school chess competition and won, but the supervisor replaced him with her nephew, who also played chess. Ethan stopped pursuing competitions, crying endlessly, but never quitting chess, hoping to compete again one day. "Mum, really?" Ethan said excitedly when she told him Mr. James wanted to play. "Come with me today. We'll go together. Don't forget to behave, okay?" she told him. "Yes, Mum, I promise," he said, raising his hand like swearing an oath. She smiled and shook her head. At the mansion, she spotted Mr. James watching them from the upstairs terrace. Ethan waved when he saw him. The two played from morning to noon, talking by afternoon. Rachel planned to pick up Ethan, but was surprised to learn he'd fallen asleep in the guest room. The head housekeeper was tucking him in. "Mr. James said to let the boy sleep here tonight. You two should stay," she said. Rachel was stunned. "This is the first time I've seen Mr. James like this," the housekeeper said, smiling. "Since his parents passed, he changed. But because of your son, I feel the old James I knew is slowly returning." Rachel's jaw dropped, swallowing hard. She didn't know what her son did to affect their boss. Ethan was kind and cheerful, despite his illness, likely why he won Mr. James's heart. "By the way, Mr. James wants to talk to you. He's on the terrace, the housekeeper added. Rachel went and saw him there looking ahead. Noticing her, he turned. I called you here to talk about the boy, James began. What, sir? She asked, confused. He nodded. I want to send Ethan to school. I also want him to pursue joining chess competitions. He mentioned it's his dream to win at something he loves. Rachel's jaw dropped. She couldn't believe the offer. It was her son's dream, and hers too. It was a quiet night. After Ethan finished his assignments, they ate dinner. He enjoyed the fish stew on the table. After talking with James that night, Rachel couldn't stop thinking about his offers. Now, doubts crept in. Why was he helping her son? Was it enough that he liked Ethan's attitude and chess skills to suddenly support him? Joining chess competitions wasn't cheap, and he offered to fund Ethan's education. A huge deal. Honey, do you really want to join chess competitions? She asked. Yes, Mom, but I don't have a chance at school, he said, sadness on his face. She realized she might crush his dream if she declined James's offer. Ethan should decide, not her. Sunday morning, they went to James's mansion. She brought Ethan, and they headed to the terrace. A man in a formal suit was with James. Good morning, son. I'm glad you joined my team. I'm happy you're competing in the chess competition, the man said, shaking Ethan's hand. Ethan's aura brightened. This is Coach Lee. He'll help you get to the first round, James introduced. Rachel saw joy in her son's eyes. She felt she'd made the right choice letting him join. Every Sunday, Ethan went to James's mansion. James patiently helped him. They started playing in the morning, ending at noon. I won again, Ethan said proudly. James shook his head. He'd lost multiple times. He felt like Ethan was teaching him. He gave Ethan a book to read. Staring at the boy, he felt a strange warmth and joy he couldn't name. He didn't know why Ethan made him do all this. He saw himself in the boy, as if this moment had happened before. He recalled facing his father over the chessboard. Now it wasn't him and his father, but him and Ethan. Eat first, James said, stopping Ethan's arm from playing. We've been at it all morning. Rest. Ethan smiled and nodded. As Ethan followed, he paused and looked at the laundry area. What about my mom? She'll be alone if I go first. I'll wait for her. James was stunned that Ethan remembered his mother. Unable to convince him, James went downstairs alone. In his office, he saw Rachel and Ethan below. Ethan chose to join his mother in the pantry, where the staff ate, declining James's offer. Should I bring your food upstairs or eat downstairs? The head housekeeper asked, knocking softly. James nodded. Bring it up, please. Thanks. There was no reason to eat downstairs now. Every Sunday, Ethan came to James's mansion. Cancel all my meetings today. I'm not going in on Sundays, and I shouldn't be disturbed. I have something important to handle, James told his secretary one morning before Ethan arrived. His staff had no idea, and he didn't plan to tell them. He didn't want issues. You're so happy today, huh? Excited, honey? He heard Rachel's voice. He was on the stairs, overhearing their conversation, and paused. You know, Mr. James is so kind. I don't get why others say he's mean. If they really knew him, I'm sure they'd like him, Ethan said. James swallowed, surprised by the boy's praise, coming genuinely from Ethan. Sir, Ethan exclaimed, seeing him on the stairs, running to him with a wide smile. Are we playing now? He asked excitedly. James gave a small smile and nodded. Did I hear right, James? You're sponsoring a kid's education and entering him in a chess competition. Do I know this kid? Amanda asked one morning. Yes, Amanda, James sighed. I like the kid. I have a chance to help, so I will. Amanda gave a small smile. But I heard you cancel meetings every Sunday to be with him. How lucky. You're giving him so much attention. James frowned at her. Any problem with that, Amanda? She shook her head quickly. I'm just surprised. I heard he has no father. I thought about finding his dad for him. He's mentioned wanting to meet him. Amanda frowned. Oops, I need a break. Can I use your restroom? James nodded, and she left. He glanced at the paper bags she brought. Food. Amanda's phone vibrated. He planned to hand it to her, but she was in the restroom, so he answered. Hello, Mom. We've handled it. We found out who the boy's real father is. We sent the documents you needed, a man said. Before he finished, Amanda snatched the phone, fear and panic in her eyes, as if James shouldn't have heard. Who's the father they're talking about? James asked, puzzled. Did he say anything else? What did you hear? Amanda asked, still scared. He didn't know why she was acting this way. He'd never seen her like this. Nothing else. You took the phone, he said. She swallowed. I'll answer this. Let's eat together. She stepped out. Meanwhile, Amanda angrily spoke to her father's employee who'd called. You idiot! You called without warning. James answered, she yelled. Sorry, ma'am, but don't worry. I didn't say anything worse. I just wanted to say I sent the documents about the boy's father to your email, the employee said. Okay, thanks, Amanda said, hanging up. She composed herself, recalling James's curious look at her reaction. She clenched her fist and took a deep breath before returning inside. They shared the food happily. Amanda couldn't eat with her family, so she brought it to James's office. She wanted to eat with him, to see him. Why wouldn't he take her parents' hints to marry her? She liked James, loved him since childhood, and her feelings grew as they aged. Did my soon-to-be son-in-law like what you brought? Her mother greeted when she got home. Of course, Mom. Don't worry, I'm pushing it. He'll fall for me eventually, she said confidently. Her mother grinned, a strange emotion in her eyes. Her family supported her feelings for James, not only because he was kind and close to them, but because he was wealthy and hard-working, a great investment for their family's company. Later, in her room, Amanda opened her laptop and checked her email. Her earlier wide smile turned to shock seeing the investigation results. She saw James's face, Ethan's, and the boy's mother, Rachel Solano. What did this mean? She let out a raw laugh, shaking her head. No, that's not true. She called her father's employees. Did you really do your job right? What you sent is trash, she yelled. Ma'am, all documents we sent came from legit sources. What you see is true. The boy's father is James Clement. He had a connection with Ms. Rachel Solano 8 years ago, the employee said. Amanda's knees weakened at the words. She shook her head repeatedly. All she wanted was to know the boy's father, to use him to keep Rachel and Ethan away from James. But she uncovered something else, shattering her sanity. Her fingers trembled as she shook her head, pulling her hair, eyes darting around the room. That's not true, she screamed, throwing a flower vase, which shattered. Rachel didn't come to work because they're at the hospital. Her son was rushed there and she informed the head housekeeper, a helper told James. Hearing this, he left work to rush to the hospital where Rachel and Ethan were. He hurried to the boys' room and found Rachel crying beside Ethan, who was asleep on the hospital bed with bruised arms and pale skin. What happened? James asked, dazed. Rachel turned, her cheeks wet with tears. They were in a shared ward with other patients behind curtains, not comfortable for them. Rachel couldn't speak, crying endlessly. He let her cry, holding her shoulder for support. He couldn't describe her pain seeing her son like this. After a while, Rachel calmed enough to talk, her eyes red, fixed on her sleeping son. He has a rare illness, inborn since birth. I don't know why. Out of everyone, it had to be him. He's done nothing wrong to be punished like this. He's a good kid, she said, covering her face to cry again. James froze, swallowing hard, thinking. The illness she described sounded like his own. After ensuring Ethan was stable, he went to the doctor to learn about the boy's condition. "We're still studying it, sir. Local doctors can't diagnose it. I've never encountered this before. If you want a deeper analysis and quick answers, you'd need a more advanced hospital abroad," the doctor said. James understood. The doctor suggested going overseas for better facilities. Like him, his parents took him abroad as a child to treat his illness, as local doctors couldn't help. But Rachel couldn't afford such costs. Ethan would stay this way without help. "You're still here?" Rachel said, surprised, seeing him. He'd moved them to a private room. He wouldn't let Ethan stay in a cheap ward. A quiet, comfortable room would help the boy breathe better. "Thank you for moving us to this room. Sorry I can't work today. I need to make sure Ethan's okay," Rachel said. "I understand. I suggest you stay here and watch Ethan until he's better," James interrupted. Rachel nodded, nearly crying, thanking him repeatedly. Before leaving, he bought food for them, sending it via his staff, then headed to his office. He saw Ryan there, grinning as if up to mischief. "Where were you?" "You left me to handle a meeting. My date with my girlfriend got cancelled," Ryan complained, slumping on the couch. "None of your business," James said, removing his coat. "The hospital," he added. Ryan grinned. "Wait, is this the mother and son at your house? I heard you're funding the kid's education and competition. He's a genius, right?" Ryan teased. James glared. "You're too nosy for a guy," he said, frowning. Ryan laughed, proud. "Correction, I'm a detective when I investigate. No news about you escapes me," he said, snapping his fingers. "So what's up? You into the single mom now? They're better than innocent girls. Experienced, great at love," Ryan continued. James frowned at his nonsense. "You can be the kid's dad now. Look, you're more responsible than his real dad. Does he call you dad yet?" Ryan went on. James paused. He didn't know why, but the word father made him think of being Ethan's dad. He recalled the boy's illness. It seemed impossible, but something pushed him to act on his thoughts. "Thanks. For once you said something sensible," James said, smiling, patting Ryan's shoulder. "Huh? Where are you going?" Ryan asked, puzzled. James grabbed his coat and left the office. He went to the hospital, took items Ethan used, and got a blood sample. He called a lab contact. "Long time no call. Thought you forgot me. What's up?" the friend said. "I'm sending a sample. I know you can do this fast. I need results ASAP," James said excitedly. "Wow, instant results? That's pricey," the friend said. James nodded. "I know. I'll pay whatever. Just do it." "Easy to talk to. Send the samples. I'll handle it," the friend said. James sighed in relief. "Okay, what's this, James?" "You're personally handling hospital stuff for the mother and son. Admit it. Who are they to you? Family I don't know about?" Amanda said, hysterical, visiting his house. "Calm down, Amanda. I'm just helping the kid. As long as I can help, I will. Rachel's my employee. I won't let my staff suffer," James said. Amanda clutched her forehead, stressed. He didn't understand her reaction. Why was it a big deal when he wasn't doing anything wrong? "What's the problem?" he asked, irritated. "Is it because he's your son?" Amanda stopped, covering her mouth. "What did you say? Son? Whose son?" James asked, frowning. Her eyes widened and she shook her head. "No, I mean, maybe you feel like he's your son since you're close, relating to him because you both love chess," she said, forcing a smile to ease the awkwardness. James's frown softened, his eyes warm, recalling how much he and Ethan were alike. "Are you still looking for the boy's father? Still planning to help him find his dad?" Amanda asked, fear in her eyes. James shook his head. I shouldn't meddle in their lives. Amanda sighed in relief, clutching her chest. Good for you. Focus on your company like usual. Or hang out with me at the mall sometimes, not doing whatever this is, she said, smiling widely. That night, Amanda stopped by his office with paper bags of mall purchases. She loved spending on unnecessary bags and expensive clothes, like her mother. No surprise her family's company went bankrupt later, and he heard her father owed the bank heavily. He drove her home that night, heading home after. Bye, she said, smiling, but she hugged him tightly. Seconds passed before she let go. Bye, James. Good night, she said sweetly. He nodded, gave a small smile, and she went inside. He got back in the car, but paused when his phone vibrated. Seeing Rachel's number, he frowned. Hello, he answered, worried. She only called for emergencies. Hi, sir. I'm a bartender. Maybe you know this woman. Your number's the top one in her call history. I need your help. She's drunk, can't stand. We've tried sending her home, but she's crying, the bartender said. James was stunned. He hadn't expected this about Rachel, a sensible woman he couldn't imagine drunk. He started the car, asking the bartender which bar she was at. Arriving, he saw her slumped at the bar counter. Thanks, boss. We didn't know where to take her, a bartender said. Thank you, James replied. He carried her, surprised by her lightness. She was small, thin, noticeably frail, making him swallow hard. She looked exhausted and stressed. Instead of driving home, he took her to a nearby hotel. My salary now, Rachel slurred, grinning, waving her hand. But no matter how many paychecks I get, it's not enough to treat my son. No matter what I do, I can't get him treated. Even if I cut off my hand, nothing will change. She started crying. He understood, and inexplicably, he hurt for her. Why not me? I could take the illness. I'm strong enough. I'm grown. Why my son? He has no father. We're poor. And now this. Isn't fate too cruel to him? Rachel said, laughing through tears. Why is it so hot? She said, removing her shirt. He froze, unable to look away. She lay on the bed, topless. He slowly approached, picking up her discarded shirt. Put your clothes on, Rachel, he said, handing it to her. But she didn't listen, moving and nearly falling off the bed. He caught her. His jaw clenched as his hand brushed her bare skin. He settled her on the bed, but as he turned to leave, she hugged his arm. James, she said, her heavy-lidded eyes opening. Their gazes met. He swallowed, clenching his fist to restrain himself. Unlike with Amanda's advances, this effect was intense. James, she said, her voice raspy, yet soft. He gritted his teeth, staring at her lips, unable to hold back. His face lowered, claiming her lips. Rachel barely faced him after their hotel night. She left, leaving him alone in the room. He admitted he was annoyed at her escape. Was she embarrassed to be seen with him? Did she feel ashamed of him? Before he was fine with one-night stands disappearing, but this was different. He hadn't expected Rachel's departure to affect him. He didn't understand himself anymore. Sir, some papers arrived for you, his secretary said. He nodded, signaling to bring them in. Seeing the envelope with his lab contact's name below his, he froze. His heart raced as he pulled out the contents. The shocking truth hit him. The DNA test for him and Ethan was positive. He knew it was impossible, but seeing it with his own eyes felt like a dream. He couldn't believe it, as if fate was mocking him. Stunned, he clutched his forehead. When the phone rang, he picked it up. Sir, everything's ready. The board meeting's starting, his secretary said. Dazed, he didn't respond immediately. Sir, she repeated, snapping him back. Call Ryan. He'll handle the meeting for me. I have somewhere important to go, he said, still shaken. All right, I'll tell him, she said. He hung up, grabbed his coat, loosened his shirt buttons, and left the office. Checking his watch, he walked to the elevator, calling the woman he needed to see now. His jaw clenched, recalling she'd stopped him from finding Ethan's father. In the end, he was the father. She'd known and hidden it. Had she played him? Was her job with him a setup? What was the truth? What was her plan? Why use their son? After several rings, Rachel didn't answer. His fist clenched. She'd regret it if he confirmed his suspicions. He'd punish her. Returning to the private room, Rachel was shocked to see 3 missed calls from James. She didn't know why he was calling. Swallowing, she sat shakily by Ethan's hospital bed. After eating, he'd fallen back asleep. He worried about school, wanting to return, but they had to stay a few more days due to his illness. She checked her phone again, biting her lip, unsure what to do. After their hotel night, she didn't know how to face James. She was too ashamed, fearing he'd think she used her body to repay him, especially since he was covering their hospital bills. She planned to say she'd pay him back by working off the costs. Moments later, she stood as James burst into the room. "We need to talk. Outside," he said coldly. She couldn't speak, following him after a moment. They went to a quiet table in the hospital. He placed an envelope before her, puzzling her. "What's this?" she asked, looking at him, confused. "Look at it, and once you see it, explain it to me clearly," he said, emphasizing clearly. Hesitantly, she opened it and saw the positive DNA result. Still confused, she wondered whose it was. "That's our DNA, the DNA result of me and Ethan," James said, answering her unspoken question. Slowly, she looked up at him, eyes wide. A mocking smirk crossed James's lips. "Now explain this to me. Is this why you didn't want me to find the boy's father? Tell me, Rachel, have you known all along?" She didn't know what to say, shocked herself. "If so, why hide it? Why not tell me? Why let Ethan get close if you didn't want me to know?" His voice rose. She was speechless, her mind blank. "Are you playing with us? Enjoying this? What do you want?" he continued, irritated. She was stunned. All this time, her son's father was with them. 8 years, and she didn't know how small the world was for this reunion. She stepped back, but he grabbed her hand. "No, not this time. You're done running. I won't let you escape again. That's your punishment," he said firmly. She gaped, looking up, tears falling as she studied his face. Shock crossed his face, seeing her cry. "You don't know what happened to me, and I don't know what you're talking about." "I didn't know," she said, voice trembling. His grip softened. The anger in his eyes faded, replaced by gentleness, as if urging her to stay and explain. He'd accept whatever she said. Ethan inherited his rare illness from James, proof he was his son. They needed to go abroad for better study of the illness. Rachel's hardships weren't easy, and James repeatedly apologized for judging her without asking about her past. She'd raised their son alone, scraping by daily without relying on anyone, while Ethan was sick. James couldn't fathom how she endured 8 years of constant struggle, and he wasn't there. "Everything will be okay," Rachel said to their son before entering the specialist's clinic. James had seen this doctor for his own illness years ago. Now they brought their son for treatment. The doctor explained Ethan needed blood from their genes. Since James had the same illness, he couldn't donate. Ethan's only chance was a sibling with matching blood type to supply blood until he recovered. This meant Ethan couldn't be cured yet. James had a condo where they stayed temporarily while managing Ethan's medication. James didn't know how to solve it, as he and Rachel were only co-parenting for Ethan's sake. They didn't know if their relationship would work. 2 months after Ethan learned James was his father, James now thought of Rachel and Ethan's illness. He was the cure, but the solution required something they weren't sure they could do. He didn't want to pressure Rachel. They were at the beach, playing ball and chasing with Ethan. He glanced at Rachel on the shore, her curly hair blowing in the breeze, wearing a white dress. He paused, staring, inexplicably awed by her simple presence, feeling the sea breeze, her feet in the water. "Your mum's beautiful," he said aloud, unaware. Thankfully, Ethan didn't hear, sparing him embarrassment. His eyes stayed on Rachel as he passed the ball to Ethan until he froze, seeing her collapse on the shore. "Shoot!" He rushed to her, carrying her pale form to a clinic. She didn't wake immediately. After speaking with the doctor, he was stunned. "She's 2 months pregnant," the doctor said. James was dazed, snapping back as Ethan jumped. "I'm getting a sibling," Ethan shouted. Rachel was equally shocked learning she was pregnant. James and Ethan were overjoyed, while she struggled to process it. The two bought every fruit they saw in a supermarket. Ethan was thrilled about her pregnancy, but saddened after their doctor visit, where they disclosed her condition. "What's wrong? Feeling bad?" she asked, finding him awake in his room. He burst into tears. "What if they hurt my sibling? What if my sibling runs out of blood giving it to me? I'd rather they not treat me than hurt my sibling. I couldn't bear it." She was stunned by his outburst, unaware he'd been dwelling on the doctor's words about his sibling being his blood source. She hugged him. "We'll be careful, honey. The baby won't be hurt badly. The doctor said it's once a year for blood. We'll wait until your sibling's older to be a donor. I promise I'll try to get better fast, eat healthy, not strain my body, so I heal and your sibling won't suffer," Ethan said, crying. She hurt for the process but had no choice for her son's survival. Once Ethan donated blood, they'd replace it with hers. She was already careful with her diet to avoid passing illnesses to her child. Ethan paced by the delivery room door, peeking inside. After hours, Rachel was brought in. Minutes later, a loud baby cry echoed. "Dad! Dad!" Ethan jumped, hearing his sibling. James lifted him to see the baby placed on Rachel's chest. It was a healthy girl, thankfully free of James's illness. "When we grow up, no boys will get near Shy. I'll beat them all. They'll have to go through me first," Ethan said boldly, while James held him. James laughed, surprised Ethan named his sister Shy. "Yes, Sheena, that's a pretty name, right? She's our princess at home," Ethan said. James laughed harder. He prepared food for Rachel, researching what new mothers needed. Beef soup was good for breastfeeding, so he made it. "Thanks," Rachel said, smiling. He was dazed by her smile. Just after giving birth, she was still stunning. Blushing, he smiled shyly. They felt like teenagers in early courtship, butterflies fluttering. "Eat too," Rachel said. "I'm fine. You need it more. Struggling? Want me to feed you?" he said, grabbing a spoon. She shook her head. "No, I'm good. Thanks." He bit his lip, watching her, waiting for her reaction. Her eyes widened. "This is delicious," he grinned, wanting to kiss her for the praise. "Really?" he said excitedly. She nodded. "You cooked?" He nodded shyly. If this feeling came from Rachel's praise, he'd cook for her daily. He offered more dishes, unable to stop smiling as she ate. 6 years later, in a mansion's garden, bubbles from bubble guns filled the air. Children's happy birthday song echoed. 2 kids stood before a large cake, one 12, the other 5. "Happy birthday, Sheena!" the kids shouted. Yes, it was Sheena's birthday, James and Rachel's only daughter. Owen, now a preteen, stood beside his sister. After 3 years of medication, Ethan healed, thanks to his sister. "Happy birthday, Shy," Ethan said, kissing his beloved sister's cheek. Sheena laughed, hugging her brother. Ethan smiled, feeling her warm embrace. He'd forever owe his sister for saving his life. James and Rachel couldn't stop smiling, watching their kids. James gently held his wife's hand. Yes, after 1 year, he proposed to Rachel. He couldn't wait longer. Before they had more kids, he wanted to marry her. He'd long dreamed of walking her down the aisle. Music. Why didn't our kids inherit my looks? Do I love you that much that they all look like you? James said, feigning wonder. Rachel pinched him. Flirt. Yeah, none look like me. Oh, look at those two. Even Ethan could have taken after me. But no, they're all you, James said, pretending to sulk. Rachel hugged his arm. He melted like ice cream at her touch. See, just holding me weakens my knees, he said, putting an arm around her. Rachel laughed louder. The feast began. They helped despite the catering service. Most kids were Sheena's daycare classmates. Ethan babied his sister, patiently feeding her though she could eat alone. Next was picture-taking. Everyone snapped photos with Sheena, who never tired of smiling for guests. Then the family photo. Rachel, James, Ethan, and birthday girl. Sheena posed. Guests clapped. What was your wish, baby? Rachel whispered to Sheena. Sheena whispered back, Baby girl, so we're two. Rachel laughed. James and Ethan got curious, wanting to know what Sheena told her mum. As the stereo played, other mums danced. James pulled Rachel to the center. The music was upbeat, but he wanted a slow dance. They gazed at each other, swaying. You're beautiful, James said, eyes on Rachel. She smiled. You're handsome. We're a match. He blushed. Once cold and strict, he now turned tomato red at her simple tease. Where's the old strict James? Where'd he go? Rachel said, grinning. He tapped her nose. Right here, in front of you, in love with you. Her smile widened. Same here.